Good afternoon. Welcome to Africa Today. I am Wisdom Onisi. Welcome. First, the headline. President Tinubu determined to eliminate bandits, terrorists, says NSA. Egypt says it is working to halt Israel's aggression on Lebanon. New Mauritius Prime Minister sworn in after huge election win. And on sport, Eagles battle Cheetahs for 2025 AFCON ticket. Now the news in details. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, has warned that obstructing security under President Bola Tinubu administration will not be tolerated. This was disclosed to newsmen. He said this at the Controller General of Customs Conference in Abuja on Wednesday, emphasizing the president's determination to eliminate bandits, terrorists, and other security threats. According to Ribadu, the government's high-level strategies had led to the killing of hundreds of bandits daily, forcing many to flee to Chad. This prompted the Chadian president to declare war on them. Ribadu assured that the government was working tirelessly to achieve a secure environment crucial for the country's development. Away from that, the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badarul Abubakar, has disclosed strategies the Nigerian government would employ to defeat the terror group Lakurawa. Badarul said the deployment of troops and provision of additional equipment, the Nigerian government would overrun the Lakurawa group. Lakurawa has been responsible for the recent attacks and killings in Sokoto and Kebbi State. Attacks by the terror group led to the death of 15 people, while about 100 cattle were restored in Mera Agwe local government area of Kebbi State. However, the minister said the federal government has already mapped out its strategies to defeat the terror group. Away from that, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has disqualified Olusola Ebiseni as the Labour Party candidate for the upcoming Ondo governorship election scheduled for Saturday, 16th November 2024. The judgment was unanimously delivered by the three members of the panel and read out by the chairman of the panel, Justice Adebukola Bonjoko, on Wednesday. Justice Bonjoko held that the appeal brought by the Labour Party against Chief Olusola Ebiseni and two others is allowed. Justice Bonjoko further stated that the certified true copy of the judgment would be provided to the parties involved in the appeal as soon as possible for their review. Now, when we return, news from other parts of West Africa. Stay with us.
This is Hillstv. Quality broadcasting is what we'll bring to you. Now we be this
Hillstv, Poker.
Welcome back. Now news from other parts of West Africa. Mawuli Agbenu, the Greater Accra Regional Director of the National Commission for Civic Education, has reiterated the call on Ghanaians to refrain from electoral violence. He underscored the need for the Ghanaians electorate and said electoral violence posed a significant threat to democracy, stability, and social cohesion, warning. Agbenu noted that acts of violence, intimidation, and vandalism could undermine the legitimacy of election results and damage public trust in the political system. He said this during a 2024 lecture on peace organized by a church and Department of Ecumenical Social Relations under the theme strengthening our capacity to be peacemakers before, during, and after 2024 general elections. Now we'll move to other parts of Africa after this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Now news from other parts of Africa. Egypt's Foreign Minister Bad Abdelati arrived in the Lebanese capital Beirut on Wednesday for talks with top officials. He said Cairo was working to halt Israel's brutal aggression on Lebanon as soon as possible.
War against Hamas
Israel
in Gaza
launched a major ground and air offense against the Lebanese group Hezbollah in late September. This followed a year of cross-border fighting between the two sides in parallel with Israel's offensive against the Palestinian militant group Hamas in Gaza. Egypt fully stands by Lebanon and offers all possible forms of support to help the Lebanese people in this ordeal. Abdelati meeting with the officials including Prime Minister Najib Mikati and Parliament Speaker Nabi Berri came a week after Donald Trump won the U.S. election. Away from that, we will have you know that panelists at the year's African Climate Summit called to maintain and amplify momentum from the last year's event, at which leaders called for initiatives to advance green development on the continent in a document called the Nairobi Declaration. Among other goals at the year's event, they said they want to strengthen multilateral cooperation, make adaptation a priority, and champion financial architectural reforms. Musalia Mudavadi, Prime Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs of Kenya, called it a daunting but surmountable challenge that will need to be addressed to keep developing nations in Africa from accumulating ballooning debt in the face of climate adaptation.
On the current global financial architecture, including by introducing debt for climate swaps, climate-specific funds, and restructured lending terms to enable Africa to respond effectively to the climatic emergencies. Meaningful reforms will enhance access to climate finance and address the ballooning interest on loans, which create unjustifiable debt burdens for developing countries.
I think so far it's been good. I mean, not what we expected. We are expecting to see more commitment from world leaders. Personally, I represent net zero nuclear, and world leaders beginning to agree and accept that nuclear is needed for the energy transition. Personally, there has been pledges, and we believe that more countries are going to pledge to triple their nuclear energy capacity by 2030.
Up next is business. Stay with us. Welcome back now to business news. Nigerians' push to revamp its mining sector is generating heightened interest from global investors as President Bola Tinubu's administration drives reforms to unlock an estimated $700 billion in untapped mineral resources. Last week, Nigeria launched a four-day mining investment roadshow in South Africa, aiming to attract $500 million in foreign investment for its solid minerals sector. Held at the Santon Convention Center in Johannesburg, the event was organized by Nigeria's High Commission to draw investors interested in Nigeria's reserves of gold, tantalite, limestone, and lithium. Still on business news, the federal government says it will collaborate with the private sector in raising a portion of the $10 billion needed to ensure the provision of consistent and reliable electricity across the country. The initiative is part of the government's broader strategy to address the country's chronic power supply challenges and is expected to span a period of 5 to 10 years. This formed the course of the deliberation when the Director General of the Infrastructure Cohesion Regulatory Commission, Johnson Ewelefo, paid a courtesy visit to the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, in Abuja. A statement by the acting head of media and publicity at the ICRC, Ifeanyi Nwoko, on Wednesday said the duo agreed that in view of the funding and technical requirement needed to advance the power sector in Nigeria, it had become imperative to seek private sector input through public-private partnership in co-financing and provided expertise that will ensure optimal performance of power infrastructure. Still to come is sport. Please stay with us.
This is Hillstv. Quality broadcasting is what we'll bring to you. Now we be this
Hillstv, Poker.
Welcome back now to Sport News. For the third time in 6 months, Nigeria and the Benin Republic will do battle on Thursday, that is today, in Abuja, Ivory Coast, as they seek to seal their automatic spot for the 2025 AFCON. After beating the Cheetahs 3-0 during the first leg at the Godswill Barbios International Stadium, Uyo, in September, the Super Eagles are visiting the Stade Felix Houphouët-Boigny, Ivory Coast, the Benin Republic's adopted home ground, for the update time this year, needing a win to cement the automatic spot in Morocco 2025. Ultimately, a draw is the bare minimum needed for Nigeria to advance, and the Super Eagles will also be playing to avoid a repeat of the 2-1 defeat to the Cheetahs at the same ground in June during the ill-fated 2026 World Cup qualifiers. The Eagles are currently top of the qualifying Group D with 10 points, but their opponent and second place Benin Republic, who are 4 points behind them, need a win to remain in contention for the second automatic spot. Still on sport news, Chelsea are willing to sell midfielder Kani Chukwuemeka in the January transfer window. Chukwuemeka has been linked with interest from Premier League rivals of which town. The 21-year-old has become surplus to the requirement at Chelsea under manager Enzo Maresca. He has failed to start a game for Maresca's side since the beginning of the season. Chukwuemeka had made just 3 appearances across all competitions for Chelsea. However, the Premier League West London club are said to be interested in signing another central defender and ready to part ways with Chukwuemeka to fund a move for one. Chelsea will have to reduce their reported €40 million valuation on Chukwuemeka in a bid to fast-track his exit from Stamford Bridge. And that's your sport news on Africa Today. Now we move to the rest of the news after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now the rest of the news. Navin Ramgoolam was sworn in for the third time stint as Prime Minister of Mauritius on Wednesday after his landslide election victory knocked out the ruling coalition and returned the opposition leader to power after 10 years in political wilderness. Ramgoolam's Alliance of Change coalition made a clean sweep of the 50 parliamentary seats on the island of Mauritius in the Sunday's vote out of a total of 66. It was an incredible victory, the 77-year-old said after the ceremony at the presidency outside the capital Port Louis and attended by dozens of politicians and ambassadors. The two-time former premier won 62.6% of the vote against 27.8% for the 62-year-old predecessor, Pravind Jugnauth's Lepep alliance. And that's Africa Today, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. We told you that President Tinubu determined to eliminate bandits, terrorists, says NSA. We brought to you that Egypt says it is working to halt Israel's aggression on Lebanon. We informed you that new Mauritius Prime Minister sworn in after a huge election win. And on sports, we informed you that Eagles battles Cheetahs for 2025 AFCON ticket. Remember to visit us on Facebook at Hillstv Abuja, Instagram at Hillstv Abuja.